ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Sunday Night Football overtime. Bengals, Giants. Ew. That was nasty. It's the same thing I said when the Giants played the Cowboys on a Thursday night. Ew, that was nasty. I didn't want any more after that, and I damn sure don't want any more after this. There are some takeaways, though, from this game for both teams. We're going to talk about that. Both teams leave this game at 2-4. 10-7 victory for 10 whole points for the Cincinnati Bengals, and it was enough to win. That is unacceptable. You know, we clowned the Jets a couple weeks back when they couldn't beat Denver, but that was in a monsoon. Constant downpour, nasty weather. It was rational to think that that could be a low-scoring game, 10-9. This, on the other hand, yikes. Now, I got to say, and you know, I had a conversation with Boss Man. He picked the Giants to win this game. I picked the Bengals. I told him, you're going to learn to stop picking against Cincinnati in situations like this. Because he picked Carolina to beat Cincinnati a couple weeks ago when they got their first win. And I said, you're going to stop picking against – look, I'm not telling you Carolina's defense Cincinnati's defense is any good. And I expected the Giants to score some points tonight. I also expected Cincinnati to score some points. And Boss was like, this Giants defense is really good. And I said, I agree. They're the best defense in the NFC East, and it's not close. They are by far and away the best defense in this division. We both agreed on that. And he said they're going to slow down Cincinnati. They're going to hold them down, and they're going to score some points because Cincinnati's defense is trash. And I said, I don't disagree with that. But I said, if you're going up against Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and all of those guys, you better be able to score some points. And unfortunately, he was right about Giants defense and them holding down Burrow. I was wrong there. And I was right about the Giants not being able to score points. Now, did I think it was going to be 17? Excuse me, I think I said 10-7. 17-7. Did I think it was going to be 17-7? Did I think this was going to be a 3-point ball game with a fumble before the 2-minute warning that kind of had the balance of this game kind of just hinging upon that fumble being recovered inbounds by the Giants, potentially being able to go back down the field and this time make a field goal, which don't know if they would have been able to do it anyway. Greg Joseph missed both of his field goal attempts tonight. Don't know. Don't care. The bottom line is Cincinnati got it done. It wasn't pretty. It was gritty. And most importantly, it was a dub. There was a lot made about them getting a number of defensive players back, B.J. Hill and Sheldon Rankins and all of those guys back on the defensive side of football. You know, they had no Mike Hilton last week, and that also hurt them in that ball game against Baltimore. So to have him back is huge. You know, I'm a big Mike Hilton fan. But I don't think having all those defensive guys back made the difference in this game. Like, did it help them? Absolutely. B.J. Hill was very much so problematic in this game. He had at least 3 balls batted at the line of scrimmage. Probably had a tackle for loss or 2, or at least a tackle for no gain or 2. His presence was felt tonight. But the Giants stink on offense. Who are we kidding? Like, even when they play really well on offense, they max out at like 20 points. And so I did think they would score more tonight. I will grant you that. And credit to Cincinnati's defense for finding a way to clean up the mess that was their defense for the first 5 weeks of the season, because their defense had been putrid. Outside of the New England game, which you could argue it did not showcase itself on the scoreboard, but they were dominated thoroughly, time of possession-wise, third down-wise, rush yards wise, all of that good stuff. New England was not interested in scoring a bunch of points. They were only interested in winning the time of possession, keeping the ball away from Joe Burrow and that Bengals offense, and finding a way to win, and that they did. So outside of that game, they'd been lit up on the scoreboard just about every single week. And I thought that the Giants could get 17 maybe tonight, 20, make it interesting with the way that they were, playing offense here recently and the way Cincinnati had been playing defense all year. But I thought Cincinnati would be able to score 24, 27, and the Giants aren't capable, right? Did I see 17-7? This was a 7-0 game at halftime. This was a 7-7 game through 3 quarters. This was a 10-7 game deep into the 4th quarter at the 2-minute warning. Like, did I see all of that? Hell no. Let's start with Cincinnati. Your defense is not fixed by any stretch of the imagination. There still were opportunities in this game. The Giants had some success on the ground. I really like Tyrone Tracy. I think I said that last week, though. And I've said that in the draft process. I liked him coming out of Purdue. I thought he could be a really good running back in this league. I actually wanted my team to draft him initially. So not surprised that he's doing what he's doing, but they had some success on the ground. I thought there were some opportunities, throwing the football. Daniel Jones had a wide open receiver on a like a deep out, sort of a corner route, maybe a deep over that kind of bled into that left sideline, but he missed him in typical Daniel Jones fashion. And they really didn't get many of those opportunities throughout this game. So you got to hit them when they come. And of course, he missed. That the big play to Darius Slayton that was negated because they had Andrew Thomas a little bit further down the field than he needed to be. So he had a legal man downfield. But by no means, if the Giants could cash in on a couple of those opportunities. The Giants could make a field goal. This is a different game. This Bengals defense still isn't any good, if you ask me. They got to prove it to me. I'm not convinced that this is a good group. And I think they see a team that can score, they're going to give up points. I also don't think that the ineptitude that we saw from their offense is who they are either. That's a damn good Giants defense that they faced in this game. We'll talk more about that here in a second. And so that really flustered them, stopped them from being the explosive, dynamic offense they had been over the last 3 weeks prior to this game. Weeks 1 and 2, they weren't that dynamic offensively. Weeks 3, 4, and 5, they most certainly were dynamic because T. Higgins returned to the lineup and everything started to really click and take off. And then tonight, they kind of reverted back to the week 1 and 2 form that they had, more so the week 1 form against New England. But that's no here nor there. That's a good Giants defense, as I've already mentioned. Still, I was very disappointed in the inability. And there were some questionable calls, I thought. Like a 3rd and 3 and you decide to run it. Like, I don't love it. Felt like you kind of struggled with the run game for most of the night. You started to actually hit some stuff late. The fumble, the run on the fumble, that was a good hit. Obviously, the touchdown run. But outside of Joe Burrow's big run, you really had no success on the ground tonight until the very, very end there with Chase Brown. So I didn't understand the 3rd and 3 run. There was another run, I think, on a 3rd down. Burns jumped in there. I was kind of baffled by some of the play calling tonight from Zach Taylor. Like, the short passing game was working. So why are you taking the ball out of Burrow's hand on 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 2? It behooves me. I thought there were some opportunities that maybe would have existed in the intermediate. The Giants are an aggressive team. You got to protect, though. Obviously, he was under duress. Man, they kicked his ass tonight. Really disappointed in their offensive line protecting Joe Burrow tonight. It was bad. I mean, some of these weren't even like sophisticated stunts and twists and games. This is like, yo, that's the best effort you got? mean, they almost got Joe concussed tonight. I mean, Brian Burns looped around. Nobody touched this man, right? And Burrow's head bounced off the that MetLife turf like a damn basketball. It's orange, and the helmet is orange, and I think they thought it was a damn basketball for a second because that shit bounced off the damn turf, and I'm like, Joe, you good? He sat up, and he sat down on his knees for a second. I said, uh-oh, Joe, I need you to finish this. I don't trust Jake Browning to finish this thing out. Jake said, Joe said, I think I'm all right. I'm gonna just go in this blue tent real quick, make sure everything's good, check my faculties. I get with you. And of course he came back, and they needed him because that was a big play to Andre Yoshibash to close this puppy out. Without it, it felt like if the Giants got the ball back one more time, I felt like they were going to do something. Like eventually it felt like just like the dam broke for New York at the end and they gave up the touchdown run to Chase Brown. I felt like the dam was going to break eventually for Cincinnati and they were going to give up the touchdown. And if they hadn't gotten that last first down to Andre Yoshivash, I think they would have lost this game 14-10. I truly do believe that. But Burrow was able to roll out to his left, extend, find Yoshivash, and then they had their chance with the fumble, couldn't recover it, and then you knew that pretty much spelled the end for them, and then you get the touchdown run. But look, in this league, and I may make fun of teams for winning close, but the key in that phrase is winning, right? Just find a way to win, man. This isn't college. I always say that this isn't college. It's not a popularity contest. You don't win on style points. This isn't boxing, right? You just need to find a way to win. Have more points than the opposition at the end of the game, and then you move on, right? Figure out how to do it again the next week. And for a Bengals team that has struggled to win close games this season, you take them any way you can get them. I do not by any means think that their defense is fixed. You played a very bad Giants offense that struggles to score the football. And so I think you had success in that space. Good for you. My whole thing is, you did it once, do it again. Do it again. Who do you even have next week? That's a good question. Oh, shit. You got the Browns. You should be able to do it again, but that's family business. Weird things happen when you play the Browns in Cleveland. I don't know when that Battle of Ohio happens, but you have a shot. Like, we've been talking about this. Where was the opportunity for you to maybe run off 3 or 4 in a row and get this shit turned around? Here's the opportunity. Started tonight. You got the Browns next week. You got the Eagles after that, then the Raiders after that, before you play the Ravens again on a Thursday night with a quick turnaround. So if you're Cincinnati, here's the opportunity. Beat the Browns, beat the Eagles, beat the Raiders, and just like that, you're 5-4 on the season. And now you got a chance to fight. You just want in. You got Joe Burrow. You got, this is the last year of T. Higgins. You got to take advantage. Just get in the tournament. Find a way in. Probably not going to win the division, more likely than not. Baltimore's probably going to go ahead and take care of that. But why not give yourself a chance at a wild card? But you got to get on your horse and you got to go now. Time is ticking and it's getting late early. So this is the stretch right here. 3 in a row. Started with the Giants. Then you got the Browns. Then you got the Eagles. And then you got the Raiders. You got a chance to win 4 in a row, rather. Excuse me. Started tonight. You took care of the first leg of that. Now you got 3 in a row. 3 more that you have to win. You can't lose any of those games. And you're fully capable of winning all those games because you should be able to score against every single one of those teams, including Cleveland. But again, strange things happen when you play the Browns in Cleveland for some reason. I can't explain it. You seem to not be able to win. I don't even know if Joseph Burrow has ever won in Cleveland. That is a great question that only a Bengals fan would probably be able to answer. My guess is no. I remember a Halloween loss like 2-3 years ago. I remember his rookie season. He threw it like 80 times in the first half. He ended up throwing it 60 some odd times in that game. That was a loss. And I think he was hurt the other times. So My guess is he's never won in Cleveland. No time like the present, man. No time like the present. But if you're a Bengals fan, you should be encouraged by what you saw from the defense tonight, but don't allow yourself to fall for the banana in the tailpipe to think that it's fixed, because it's not. But you will get a chance to, because boy, Deshaun Watson, I don't know if you guys have been keeping tabs. I'm pretty sure you have, because it's the division. He is awful. They're struggling, and that's an understatement offensively, and they can't get out of their way with penalties. They're a mess. If you can't beat them next week, if you can't hold them to 10 or 13 points with what you did to the Giants, you should be able to replicate what you did this week, next week against the damn Browns. Probably sack Deshaun more times, because he's the most sacked quarterback in the league, because he stinks. And you should be able to go in there and dominate that game. Some 27-13 type energy is what I'm feeling. And then parlay that into a trip home against the Eagles, and their defense stinks too. So you should be able to have a shot in that game to score, run it up. And I mean, again, we'll find out if your defense is fixed, because their offense is actually good. Their offense can actually score. So if your defense is truly fixed, we'll know against Philadelphia in a couple of weeks. We won't be able to know after next week. That's fool's gold. But no reason to not get your shit off on Cleveland, get your confidence up, feel good going into that Philadelphia game, and maybe you start playing with a little bit of swag and energy defensively, and maybe you start playing good ball on defense. Lou Almirono didn't forget how to coach defense. This defense is like, the players are still there. It's most of the same players. They didn't forget how to play football. So maybe you can turn it around. But tonight was a good start. Boy, did the offense look rough. Jamar Chase with a big drop. That killed the drive. Really didn't get anything going on the ground. Don't love the ground game right now in Cincinnati. Puts a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow. I like Brown. I don't really care for Moss all that much. I don't really care for Moss. Both backs fumbled tonight. Lost one, got one back. That's not good. Burrow was pestered. He was harassed. He was sacked. He was hit. Almost, like I said, got knocked out of the game almost. Got to clean that shit up. That's a good Giants front, though. But still, no excuses. 10 points? 10 points, really. Up until the final drive of the game. 10 points? That's all you could muster tonight? I'm surprised. I'm shocked. Speaking of which, let's go to the Giants side of things. Man, that defense is good. And I think Cincinnati had a little bit to do with that as well, but you got to give them credit, man. For as good as Cincinnati have been playing, for you to hold them to essentially 10 points for the duration of the night. Wowzers. Your defense deserves better. It's a shame that this level of defense that you're playing right now isn't accompanied by a much better offense. But this is where you are, you know. And unfortunately for you, you're going to win 7 games probably this season. 6 or 7 games. And that's going to put you in no man's land when it comes to quarterbacks. And even if you do get a quarterback, it's going to be one of those fringe dudes. You're going to be stuck with another Daniel Jones type guy. He'll be better than Daniel Jones, though. That's my guess. I can't assure you of that, because you're not going to get, you know, one of the elites from this draft, whatever that means. I don't love any of these quarterbacks, by the way. This draft will not be anywhere near as good as the draft we just had. I don't know if you're watching all these young boys get an opportunity. Even Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler would be a massive upgrade for you. I don't know why you didn't take Spencer Rattler, but that's another conversation for another day. Spencer Rattler would give you a shot. Watched him start today for New Orleans, and you could use some Spencer Rattler. And I think he might be better than one of these bums you're going to end up taking in the next year's draft, because you're going to end up with the 13th pick or some shit like that. No less than the 9th pick in the draft. Somewhere in between 9 and 13 is where you're going to end up picking. And unless somebody's willing to trade with you, you're not going to end up with one of the blue chip quarterbacks. You're going to end up with one of the guys after that. So anyway, the defense is playing good football. They won last week. They kept you in the Dallas game, gave you a shot there. Probably should have won that game. They dominated the Browns, allowed you to win that game. Gave you a shot against Washington, even though they didn't get a stop in that game. They stiffened in the red zone and gave you a shot. This defense is giving you a shot all year, other than Minnesota, honestly. And it's unfortunate that you're 2-4 because your defense probably deserves to be 4-2 right now. And it was another hell of a performance. Burns finally looking like the guy that you traded for and gave all that money to. We know he's fully capable. Need to see it, though, and need to see it consistently for 17. But he's on his way. I got a 00 for Dexter Lawrence. Okay. I was wrong. He's the best defensive tackle in the division, and it's not close. This guy's a handful. He finds his way to the quarterback. He impacts games. He eats double teams, still makes plays. He's a problem, and he's damn good. He's the anchor of that defense. Everything kind of starts with him. Ojulari was ridiculous tonight. I was about to call him BJ, his brother. Azeez Ojulari was ridiculous tonight. And that's what I thought he could be when he came out of Georgia after that 8.5 sack rookie season. I was like, oh shit, they might have something here. To me, he's better than Kayvon Thibodeau. If he plays like this and if he can stay healthy, and that's been his biggest bugaboo is health. If he's healthy, to me, he's better than Kayvon Thibodeau. I don't fear Kayvon Thibodeau at all. At all. But Azeez Ojulari was outstanding tonight. Obviously, Brian Burns was outstanding. I love McFadden. He forced the fumble that you guys couldn't recover. Drew Phillips is playing really good football, even though he didn't get enough depth on that last play. But, I mean, that's Burrow extending. What the hell happened on that damn touchdown run for Burrow anyway? What the hell was that defense? That's insane. And then watching it from the aerial view, the end zone view of the safety bailing and not seeing Joe Burrow take off running right at him, and the safety takes off to go play the outer, third of the field or that deep half over there, and just runs away from Burrow and allows him up that sideline essentially, or angling towards that pylon for the touchdown. That was 3rd and like 14. How could you? 3rd and 19, I think it might have been. How could you? Unbelievable. That was the only touchdown for like 3 quarters. Are you kidding me? You got to be kicking yourself if you're the Giants. That can't happen. 44-yard touchdown run for Joe Burrow? Are you kidding me? That's a hell of a way to give up pretty much the only touchdown of the night until that last one by Chase Brown at the end of the game. Outside of that, really, your defense was outstanding. Gave you a shot. I mean, that's all you can ask for. There's a chance. Defense gave you that. Then there's the offense and the special teams. Oy vey. We'll start with the special teams. We'll save the best, or in this case, the worst, for last. Special teams essentially won your game last week. Offense was good. Defense was good. Special teams was special. Block kick, return for a touchdown. That pretty much iced it. Field goal kicker made all of his kicks last week, Greg Joseph. And so you got it done. This week, not exactly. Not exactly. So Joseph misses 2 field goals. You obviously have the well, I thought it was one more play. I guess I'm tripping. I know Cincinnati. I got to give Cincinnati's punter some credit too. He did a really good job of kicking those. Yeah, one kick trickled into the end zone. Everything else is pretty much either downed or it was fair caught at around the 10-yard line. So got to give their punter a lot of credit. But defensively or offensively, excuse me. What more can I say? I really don't have much to say about this Giants offense that I haven't already said. Like Tyrone Tracy, Daniel Jones fought. Offensive line was solid. I think I like the Johnson kid out of Penn State. I think he's fairly solid. Didn't think you used Wan'Dale Robinson enough tonight, but that might have been a product of circumstances. Like, who doesn't think he's getting the ball on a crucial 3rd or 4th down? Like, that's Daniel Jones' favorite place to go on those situations. So if I'm a defender, I'm keying in on that. And they did a really good job of doing that tonight, including the last one there, at the end where it was knocked down by the Michigan second-year corner that had the PI in the end zone. No Malik Neighbors spells doom for this Giants offense. And this is the biggest reason why. This man was the most targeted receiver in the NFL when he got injured 2 weeks ago. He was so far out in front of everyone in targets and catches that he did not play last week. And he's still the most targeted receiver in the NFL and had the most catches. So what I'm telling you is they're so heavily reliant upon Malik Neighbors that if he gets hurt, your offense, or whatever's left of it, goes to shit because he is essentially all you have. The same thing Dallas runs into with CeeDee Lamb. At least they have, Jake Ferguson at tight end, but it's the same concept. If anything happens to CeeDee Lamb, they're screwed because they don't have anybody else. They don't have a run game. At least you have some semblance of a run game. They don't have any. And so no Malik Neighbors spells doom for you. I'm still shocked you were able to go to Seattle and win last week. But he's such a big part of what you do offensively. What the hell good is Jalen Hyatt for? What the hell does he do anyway? Good grief. What a waste of a pick. It just seems like, and this is the second time we've watched the Giants on primetime in 3 weeks. And I've watched every Giants game, every Giants snap this season. And it just feels like they do so much on offense and get such little returns from it. They put together these long 15. There was a 16-play drive, and they got 0 points out of it tonight. It's like they worked so hard for so little. Like this is the Great Depression. You go and you work 12 hours and you make a nickel. And you're like, damn, I just bust my ass on a 16-play drive, nickel and diming the shit out of the damn defense. 3rd and 1, we find a way to get it. 3rd and 2, we find 4th down and 1. We find a way to get. We keep this bitch alive. 7 minutes of the clock is burnt up, and we ain't got a damn thing to show for it. It's the same thing against Dallas. You're moving the ball, and it ain't shit here. Where's the proof that you had the ball and you did something other than flip field position? You could have did that with a punt. They work so hard for so little. Every week it feels like it. Every week. The 1 week where it felt like, man, they're actually seeing a return on investment here was against Cleveland. And you scored 24 points. That's a lot of points for you. Whew. At 24, that's like 44 for the Giants. But every other week, it just seems like, man, it is a struggle. Everything is so hard to come by. My goodness. And tonight was another one of those nights. There were drives where I'm like, man, they're moving the ball. And I look and they're at midfield and they've had it for 4.5 minutes. Drive started at their own 13. They're at midfield. It feels like they've had it forever. Like they gotta be in field goal range already. Nope, they're at the logo. Midfield. God damn. Like, damn it, man. They work so hard and yet get so little. And it feels like that the reason this happens is because of Daniel Jones. There's just limitations there on what you can do, what you can call, what you have to call to keep him in a rhythm, quarterback design runs, short, quick game passes, bootlegs where he gets it out of his hands quickly. These all are nickel and dime opportunities to keep you on schedule, which is a necessary evil with Daniel Jones because you don't want to be in third and long with Daniel Jones because that's when bad things happen. You're moving the football. Daniel Jones makes a poor decision early in the game. Have we heard this before? He's getting hit. Why are you still trying to throw the ball down the field? And you see, it's not like Daniel Jones was facing, front side and it's backside pressure from the left tackle or a free hitter that he doesn't, identify and he gets hit as he's throwing. He has pressure in his face that he sees coming. BJ Hill, this is a 300-pound man running at you, and somehow you think you're going to throw it over him? Where's the psychological sense? He's still doing the same shit he was doing 4 years ago. And that's the biggest issue I got with Daniel Jones is he don't want to grow up. He's an F-up kid. Every damn year, it's the same shit. He don't want to grow up. He's still making the same mistakes he was making when he was a kid. Back in 2019 when he was a rookie. The same shit he was doing in 2019 is the same shit he's doing now. Tyrone Tracy, wide open in the flats. No, I want to throw it over the middle of the field. But BJ Hill is coming. I don't care. I'm throwing the football. Okay, so you're going to get hit while you're throwing it. We've seen this movie before. And it's going to be picked off. Are you happy now? Anyway. It's unfortunate. I still, with everything I just said, I think the Giants can beat the Eagles next week. that is the game I would pay to watch. I won't. Well, you know what? I will be able to watch it. My Commanders don't play until 4 o'clock, so I will be able to actually sit and pay attention to that game. And I actually think defensively they could do what they did to the Eagles at the end of last year. I think they can beat them up defensively. I really, truly do. That was such an unimpressive performance by the Eagles today. Such an unimpressive performance. They had 2 weeks to prepare for Cleveland, and that's the shit you put out there on tape. I like the Giants in that game next week. And they should be getting Malik Neighbors back next week. That'll make things very interesting. And there's going to be a lot of extra juice and energy in that building because Saquon Barkley is returning to the scene of the crime. So that should be a fun one next week. And I love NFC East violence. Man, it'd be nice if the Giants could do some dirty work for us. I'm not looking for it. I'm not expecting it, but it'd be nice. And I could sure see it happening. With the way they're playing defense and getting after the quarterback, I could see them stoning, Jalen Hurts, eliminating the run game of Saquon Barkley. They're going to have extra juice for Saquon. Extra juice for Saquon. That one should be fun. It's an improved secondary, so I don't know if that Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown shit is going to pop off like it used to. That's going to be fun next week. I'll be front and center for that one because I think the Giants got a shot. I really do, especially if they can play the kind of defense I've watched them play pretty much the last 2 weeks, holding down a pretty good Seattle offense and an even better Cincinnati offense the last 2 weeks. Take that same energy home or stay home and open up a can of whoop ass on the Eagles offense. And I think, again, they're going to move the ball. Can they score points? That's going to be the key. They might do all of this good shit next week and somehow manage to only score, 13 points, and it might not be enough. They got to score some points, man. They got to score some points. But anyway, I digress. Let's get to inside the odds, and then we will dive into your comments.
Inside the odds.
Looking for a new book this football season? BetUS has you covered. Fastest payouts in the industry. Get up to 10% back on your net losses twice a year. How many books are out there doing that? And here's the big kicker. 150% sign-up bonus for new users when you use the promo code YouTube150 on your first deposit on up to $2,000. Your next two deposits, 125% sign-up bonus. YouTube150 is the promo code. Use it at betus.com. Bet responsibly and only bet what you can afford to lose. So here was the spread for the game. Giants were 3.5 dogs, 3.5 point dogs. Total was 49. Clearly, they didn't even come close to that. I think 49 was a bit high. I think that was more because of what Cincinnati was capable of doing and less with what the Giants were going to provide. But clearly, I would have taken the under on that. There was no way this total was getting a 49. I was thinking 20 to 16, 24 to 17, something in that neighborhood. But there was no way these two were going to get to almost 50 points. I just didn't see that happening. But did I think 24 points total was going to be scored? No. And I actually wish I would have grabbed the total points number for this game brought to you by BetUS, because I would have loved to have seen what the number would have been for 0 to 21, and then I think it's 22 to like 30. I would have loved to have seen what the number was for that. I bet you that money line had to be like plus 800 because they didn't think it was going to be that low scoring of a game. 49 was way too high. Obviously, the Bengals covered the spread. No surprise there. I thought they would cover the spread easily. They almost didn't. It was 10-7, and if they don't get the touchdown, if they just rip off a run, Giants, tackle them past the first down after use their timeouts, they end up in victory formation, they wouldn't have covered the spread. So it was very close to them not covering the spread, but they did cover the spread relatively easy in this game. I do have it. Look at that. Look at God. Look at God. I do have the points total range. Plus 900. I said plus 800. I was close on the money line. 21 to 30 points. Plus 900. I mean, who would have been willing to put down 100 that this game wasn't going to make it to 30 points? That's a tough bet to make, which is why it was plus 900. If you put down 100 on 0 to 20 points, money line was 4,000 plus 4,000. I mean, you put down $10, that's $400. Obviously, that's a tough one to sell. But when you're talking about the Giants, anything's possible. Like, it's certain teams where you go, hey man, I don't know. But even Vegas got a head fake. The BetUS was like, yeah, nah, not 20 points between the two teams. Not with Cincinnati scoring the way that they scoring. Nah, that ain't happening. Cincinnati gonna score 20 by themselves. That was what prevailing thought. Boy, were we wrong. So there was some money to be had on the total points range for this game. Real quick, the winning margin, Bengals by 1 to 6 points. Obviously, the spread was 3.5, so that's going to be the most popular. So you're going to see less money there. But I would have thought that it would have been somewhere in the 13 to 18 range. I thought they could get there if the Giants struggled to score. But I already told you what I thought the score was going to be. I thought the score was going to be like 24 to 7, 17, 24 to 13, something in that neighborhood. So it would have been in that 7 to 12 range that I thought this game could be, which is where it ultimately ended up at. 10-point win for the Bengals, plus 425. But I thought it could get to 13 to 18 points, which is plus 600, but not with that defense that the Giants was wielding tonight. It just wasn't happening. Giants win by, it's crazy, 1 to 6 points plus 375, 7 to 12 points plus 700. plus 700 if they just win by a touchdown for the Giants. And you just look back at this game and all the things that transpired, and they easily could have won by a touchdown or more in this game. The bad, interception thrown by Daniel Jones as he's being hit. The penalty after the big catch and run by Darius Slayton. The 2 missed field goals. Obviously, the second missed field goal probably doesn't happen if the first missed field goal doesn't happen. But that's nor here nor there. There were opportunities for the Giants to score points tonight. And in typical Giants fashion, they did not. Big shout out to BetUS for powering this stream. So let's get to the comment section, see what you guys have to say. If you're out there, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air if it is pertinent and time permits. I cannot assure you that we will have time to get to your comments. However, you can still use that hashtag, and if time permits, we'll get to as many comments as we can. But the way to ensure that we get to your comments are the super chat. Use the super chat function to have your comment read on the air and reacted to. Also, it helps you jump straight to the front of the line and ensure that your comment is reacted to. So with that said, I just want to give some love to these. I don't know if I gave love to all 3 of these. I don't remember Rich Respect. So we just going to give some love to these new members here in case we missed them earlier. Matthew Alston, Jonathan Hill. I know we gave Jay Will some love earlier. And Rich Respect. Stand up. You are all the newest members of the MOBB. Glad to have you on board. Welcome to the squad. Looking forward to chopping it up with you, as this is going to be a fun season, as you can already see. Christopher McLaughlin, my guy, C. Mac. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Chris, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Chris? Hope all is well with you and the family. Likewise, as always. Tough loss, but not surprised. Neither am I. I did think we were going to win the game. But surprise isn't a word that comes to mind to describe, how I felt after today's game. Not surprised at all. That's a good football team that we played today. We knew we were going to have to play some of our best football to get it done, and we didn't. Says, our D needs work. We already knew that. And that's not going to change. There'll be weeks where they look really good. There'll be weeks where they look like they did today. And you understand it's going to be dependent upon the opponent. The weeks where we play prolific offenses that can move the football, we are going to have a tough time stopping them from scoring, converting on third downs, et cetera, et cetera. He says, and we need to add 6 starters on O and D. 2 questions. Where were the deep shots today? Just 1. And 2, what will it take for the OC to target Terry 10 times a game regularly? So I can't speak to where the deep shots were yet. We'll have to watch film for that. So we'll do that on Tuesday night. My guess is the Ravens were probably playing some sort of 2 deep shell, keeping everything in front of them. And because we didn't have a semblance of a run game, they never really had to come out of their 2 deep shell. That's my guess. I could be wrong about that. If you got 2 deep shell, you're not throwing deep on that. You're not. You might be able to take, a shot over the middle of the field. And that's why I feel like the middle of the field was open today. And a lot of, some of our best work was done, over the middle of the field, or at least the explosive plays were over the middle of the field. But I'm betting that when we look at the film, you'll see a lot of 2 deep shell. And you're not taking a deep shot against that. In order to get teams out of that 2 deep shell, you got to run the football effectively. Now they got to bring that safety down. Now they got, when the middle of the field is open, it's tough. But when the middle of the field is closed, you got a shot. And in the NFL, a lot of times middle of the field closed means it's a single half free safety. Unfortunately for us, we didn't run the ball effectively enough to force them to bring that extra defender down in the box. So I think that's probably, now again, I can't say that for certain. I got to watch the film, but that's my guess. Because I asked myself the same thing. We couldn't have took a De'Ami Brown shot at some point in this game. We couldn't have took another Terry shot at some point in this game. But if it's not there, you don't want to force it. you know. As far as what would it take for Cliff Kingsbury to get Terry 10 targets, it's tough because a lot of times they're going where the coverage dictates the ball should go. And what I do love, this is what I do love right now. I do love the fact that when we got to have it, 80% of the time, 8 times out of 10, when we got to have it, we go into Terry. We go into 17. When we had to have it on 3rd down early in the game, he went to Terry. When we had to have it on 4th down to keep the game alive, he went to Terry. That I do love. We went to Noah Brown on a 3rd down, and that's not, irregular. We went to OZ on the 3rd down, and he made a catch. Like, we go to anybody on 3rd downs. But when the game was on the line or when we got to have it, I like that more times than not, we're going to 17. But you got to also think when teams go into the game, they're saying, hey, 17 can't beat us. Now, I get it. I know you saw, and I'm not saying that Terry's seeing the same type of coverage as Jamar Chase, but I know you saw Chase had 2 dudes on him a lot of times tonight. Jamar Chase only had, my guess, he only had 3 or 4 catches tonight. That's my guess. Jamar Chase, 5 catches on 6 targets, 72 yards. And he had a drop. Obviously, that was the 1 target he didn't catch. So, T. Higgins, 7 catches on 7 targets. Like, those are their 2 best receivers, and it was 13 targets between the 2 of them. It'd be like that sometimes. Now, with Terry, most weeks, it feels like it's like that every week. So, remember how badly Chase was struggling to start the season off because there was no T. Higgins to take attention away from him? That's Terry every week. As much as we like the supporting cast and think anybody could get you at any time, there's still no guy that you have to respect enough to take attention away from Terry. So if the game plan going in is, hey, don't let 17 beat you, what is Olamide Zaccheaus going to stop me from executing that plan? Is Noah Brown going to stop me from executing that plan? Is Luke McCaffrey going to stop me from executing that? Is De'Ami Brown going to? No. So if the goal is, hey, take away 17, make it tough on 17, it's going to be tough on 17. So, and I'm pretty sure there are more opportunities to get on the football. If they wanted to force it to him, they could. But that's not how the offense is being run. And I like the fact that the offense, as long as Terry is getting his proper amount of looks and we're going to him in crucial situations, I got no issues with it. My problem is when we're struggling to score, we're struggling to move the ball, and Terry only has 4 targets. That's when I start to have issues with what the hell's going on. Because he can help alleviate some of that stress. But do we want more 100-yard efforts? Do we want more 8 catches, 147-yard? Yeah, damn right we do. Those are hard to come by. We might be able to get one this week against Carolina, though. They've given up the most points in the NFL this season. I look for a bounce-back game this week. That's one that we got to have. And I would love it to be a lot like that Cleveland game in the sense that this shit is over by the time we get to the 4th quarter. They're not going to lay down for us, though. And Andy Dalton's a wily veteran. And if our defense comes with that bullshit, don't think for 1 second Andy won't light our ass up. And Chuba Hubbard is running that bitch. So don't think you're going to come in here with some shoddy-ass run defense and not get exposed. So we gotta play real football next week. But the opportunities will be there to light the damn scoreboard up, and I hope we take advantage of it. JLG, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, good win for Cincy. Hopefully the Eagles will send the Giants to their offseason at 2-5. I don't want the Giants lingering around in the division. Why are you? I think it's you. You've been the one that keeps wanting the Giants. The Giants staying alive is good for the division. Why do you want the Giants dead? They are no threat to us. As long as we beat them the next time we see them, you should want the Giants alive. Because they got the Eagles twice, they got the Cowboys one more time. You want them still playing for something. If they're dead, those games later in the season, probably insignificant. You want the Giants alive. They're no threat to us. But they could do some dirty work for us. They could be one of our henchmen. You should want the Giants alive. You want the Eagles to win and keep pace with us? What psychological sense does that make, JLG? Make it make sense. Like, you playing checkers. This is a chessboard and you're playing checkers, JLG. You should want the Eagles to lose next week to the Giants. You want chaos. You don't want the Giants eliminated. Look, the Cowboys stink. This is a two-team race in this division. It's a two-team. It's us and the Eagles. The Cowboys have proven they can't handle their schedule this year. It's too tough. They're dead already. So it's a two-team race in this division. And you want the team that's going to be the biggest threat to us winning the division to win next week? JLG, go find the nearest faucet, turn on the right faucet, all right? Go find the nearest sink, turn on the right faucet, let it run for 15 seconds. I need it ice cold. Put both hands together underneath the spigot. Get as big a wad of water as you can, ice cold. Splash it on your damn face and get your mind right. Make it make sense. Marquell Randall. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Marquell writes, if you told me Joe Burrow would run for a 47-yard man, who you telling? When he took off, I was like, damn, Joe see a first down. I never thought Joe saw a touchdown. But the way he took off, it was like 3rd and 19. So I'm like, the way he taking off, Joe see a first down. And then when he got past the initial line, I said, hey, ain't nobody there. So, but I'm like, okay, there's a safety or there's somebody coming from the opposite side. Somebody's going to push him out of bounds after a gain of 25, but he's going to have the first down. And as Joe's going, I'm like, yo, where the hell is the defense at? That was crazy. They had Joe flexing out there. Joe got up. They got Joe out here thinking he a bad boy. He a bad boy. I said, man, y'all should be ashamed of y'all damn self. It was their only mistake, though, honestly. It was the only mistake, though, honestly speaking. Christopher McLaughlin, my guy. Chris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for your generosity, first and foremost, man. Really do truly appreciate you in all that you do for the Louie T Network. As I've said to you many a times, and I'm going to continue to say, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. My guy, Chris, writes, hey, Lou. 2 questions. 1, how does Joe Witt Jr. adjust to the personnel challenge and blitzing with the injuries to John Allen and Dorrance Armstrong going forward, and why? 2, how do you think our team compares to the other 4-2 teams in the NFC now, and why? I think we're right there with them. I don't even know who the other 4-2 teams are. I just know the NFC North is loaded right now. Everybody in that division, I think, has 4 wins. And Minnesota has 5. Minnesota's 5-0. Detroit's 4-1. Chicago's 4-2. Green Bay's 4-2. That division is loaded. We get to play Chicago coming off their bye, so we don't have to wait long to figure out how we stack up with them. Green Bay they're hit or miss. Jordan Love is so skittish. Like, it's hard for me to get behind Jordan Love because he does a lot of foolish shit with the football. Like, you know, he got away with some shit against Arizona today, but it's like, yo, he just throwing up shit for grabs. You can pick him off 2 or 3 times if you minding your P's and Q's, Y's and Z's, 4 5s on the side of me. If you're doing all of that, you can pick Jordan off 2 or 3 times in a game because he just be throwing some shit up. He real reckless, but then he can get you. So it goes both ways. It's a double-edged sword. You just got to watch out and make sure you don't cut yourself. Right? Because if you can manage the double-edged sword and not cut yourself, you can get Jordan. You can cut Jordan with the sword a couple times. Minnesota's interesting. Detroit, man. I don't know if they're not the best team in the conference, man, at this point. Like, that's real talk. That dismantling, man, that's a big loss, though. That cripples them in a way that you can't even fathom, that that loss of Aiden Hutchinson. He was as an edge rusher, he's one of them ones. And to lose him, it drastically changes how you play defense and how you got to go about game planning and scheming for Detroit. That's like Pittsburgh losing TJ Watt is that big of a deal. He's one of them dudes. But they look like the best team in the conference. I don't know if they're going to be able to overcome Aiden's injury and remain that good defensively, but they look like one of the best teams in the conference. Minnesota's playing excellent football. I'm never going to count out San Francisco because of their pedigree, but I think we're the best of the 4-2 teams. Chicago and Green Bay, and I don't think the NFC West doesn't have any 4-win teams. NFC South, you know what? I think we match up well with Atlanta, but they got some talent. You know, we see them later in the year, though. Like I said, the season will play itself out and everything will take care of itself because we see a lot of these teams. You know, we'll get to, like, we saw Arizona. I was like, man, we might be fighting for a playoff spot with Arizona. Okay, got rid of them. We might be fighting with Chicago for a playoff spot. Let's get rid of them. We'll get Atlanta late in the season. So NFC's shaping up, man. Like, for a while there, I still don't think there's an alpha outside of Detroit, but man, it's a lot of good records right now. A lot of good records in the NFC. The entire NFC North, 4 wins. Falcons have 4 wins. The Bucks have 4 wins. We have 4 wins. It's a lot of good teams. Minnesota has 5. Oh, I said the entire division there has 4 or more. And Minnesota has 5. They're the only team in the conference with 5 wins. So nobody's 5-1. We blew that opportunity. The Texans are 5-1 on the AFC side of the bracket. So there are no 5-1 teams in the NFC, but there are a bunch of 4 and 2 teams, and Detroit is 4-1. I like us because we can score. And unless you have an elite offense, I think we can slow you down. We might not stop you, but we can slow you down. You got to have one of them ones. And there aren't any other one of them ones in the NFC except our guy. So I don't worry about the rest of the conference from that standpoint. But when you play a team like Detroit, they're so well coached and they have philosophical beliefs. And then there's Ben Johnson is so good. They don't have to have one of them ones because they're so well coached. And they got a ton of talent. Way more than we got. So, yeah, that changes things. But the thing that gives us the edge over we got one of them ones. Don't nobody else in the NFC got one of them ones. And every week, that's going to give us a chance. Even when we're outmanned, even when the talent discrepancy is great, we have one of them ones and you don't. And that shit is a game changer. As far as what Joe Witt Jr. is going to have to do look, he was already limited before those 2 guys got injured. So I don't think it changes what he's going to do schematically. You know, a guy's got to step up. F.A. Obada, and we got Cleveland Farrell back in this game. And, Jamin Davis is probably going to be called back up. And Sheldon Day and Carlos Watkins may be on speed, might be coming up off the practice squad. Like, other guys are going to have to step up. Dante Fowler Jr. has been a godsend. And without him, I don't know what we would do because we really don't have any real pass rush without him. I didn't love Frankie Louvu just, mugging the A gap, the B gap, and just making it obvious he was coming. The Ravens are too good of a line. You got to disguise. Like, it was too easy. I'll just say that. We got no pressure on Lamar today. Even when we blitz, we got no pressure on Lamar. It's too easy. I feel like we got to come up with some And maybe he's a little bit hesitant to try to give them more because remember, he said he was going to condense what we were doing to try to simplify, not necessarily simplify, but condense it so it wasn't as much. He said we were doing too much. So all the shit that I say I want him to do, we're not advanced enough mentally to handle it yet without making mistakes, coverage bust, that sort of thing. If you want them to play fast, you got to give them less so they're not thinking and they're going out and playing fast. So all the shit that I want to see, I don't think we're in a position to do yet. That overload a side, force them to slide protection. Then the people that look like they coming on that side drop out, and the blitz comes from the opposite side. You get a free hitter, even though you only rush 4. That's called full pressure, right? But we don't do that shit because we're not there yet. We'll get there eventually. Maybe not this year, but anyway. Emperor Meech, it's been a minute, man. Where you been at? Good to hear from you as always. Emperor Meech, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, just sitting here laughing at Daniel Jones fans. Hey, if it's one thing that I know will bring you out, it used to be Gettleman and Daniel Jones. Now Gettleman's gone. All I got left is Daniel Jones. It was Gettleman, then it was Joe Judge. Now it's Daniel Jones. It's always been Daniel Jones, but I'm hanging on by a thread, man. I don't know how much more time I got left with him. I'm going to enjoy it while it's here, though. They're scurrying back into hiding like they always do, like rats. They praised that contract. Ha, 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 ha. You know, they were coming out in full force just a week ago. Everything was all good just a week ago. I swear, Emperor Meech. I told you, the Giants fan base, you've stayed consistent. But the Giants fan base is so conflicted. They are so torn, like LaToya Luckett. Because on one hand, they know what's good for them. They know what they have to do to give them the best chance to be good into the future. They got to stink. But it's hard going through what you got to go through to put yourself in a position to get that guy. Like last year was hard, man. It was hard. Getting embarrassed on Thanksgiving, getting embarrassed by the Dolphins, getting embarrassed by losing to the Giants twice and getting embarrassed by them once. You know, that is tough. Losing sucks. Knowing that you don't have a chance going into games is rough. And then when you sneak up and you beat a team and you come close, it's tantalizing. It's like that carrot. It's like that Geico commercial where he's like, hey, Tusa, right? Where he's got the little dollar dangling. And she tries to grab you. Oh, you Tusa. That's Daniel Jones, right? Every time you think you finna grab this win streak, Tusa. And Giants fans want to lose, but they don't want to lose. Then you win a game, and then you're like, man, F this. We could have been X, Y, and Z. If Malik Neighbors doesn't drop this pass, and if Wan'Dale Robinson doesn't drop this pass, we could have been X, Y, and Z. Man, they don't know what they want to do. It's fun to watch, though. Marquell Randall, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. It's always good hearing from you, Emperor Meech, though. The more the Eagles win, higher chance they keep Sirianni. I think they are a good coach away from being a great team. Too much talent over there. I don't disagree. But here's the thing. The longer he stays, the more time they stall for us to get our shit together. Because the only thing, like I was having a conversation with Boss Man today. Because he was like, man, the Eagles are trash. And he didn't say that in a like they stink way. He was saying it like, in a man, they are underachieving type of trash way. He said, I don't know what the hell going on with them. And I had to break it down for him. I said, here's the thing. For so long, the Eagles have gotten by because they don't have good coaching. They haven't had good coaching since Jonathan Gannon. And it's funny because we shit on Gannon. I did. I can't speak for nobody else. Eagles fans shit on Gannon. Defense ain't been right since he left. I told him, you are going to miss Shane Steichen. Damn, he was good. They ain't been right offensively since he left. They ain't been properly coached since those two guys got jobs. And So they were skating on their talent. They were the most talented team in the division, and they were able to skate because of it. And they had the best quarterback in the division too. And so they were able to get by on that as well, because that means something. They had the best general manager in the division, and that meant something. And so they were able to skate for all of these reasons. You watch Jerry Jones, too cheap to go get Derrick Henry, talking about they all in, we couldn't afford him, this, that, and the third. He's terrible. You looked at our situation, we were terrible. You look at the Giants situation, and they were just handcuffed, right? They didn't have the resources, and then you got Daniel Jones. I mean, what are you going to do, right? But now the tables are starting to turn. I was telling Boss, they don't have the best quarterback in the division no more. They still got the best roster, but they're poorly coached. Our coaching staff run laps around those boys. We got a better GM than them. It's going to take time for that to actually prove itself out. But I'm assured of that. I know that right now. I don't have to wait. But it'll take time for that to bear itself out. All of the advantages that the Eagles used to have, they don't have them anymore, other than they're just more talented than everybody else. But they lack coaching, so the talent don't matter. This ain't the NBA where you can just call ISO. Get out the way. Let LeBron score. Get out the way. Let Steph Curry cook. This ain't the NBA. You actually got to run plays and be properly coached. And they stink in that department. But this is the thing. They got A.J. Brown back, so the slants are back on. I watched them shits today. The go ball, hey, just throw that bitch up. A.J. down there somewhere. That shit is back on, right? Get it to Smitty on a little shallow cross. Let Smitty do his thing. That shit is back on. But when that faucet gets turned off and Saquon ain't ripping off 50, 60-yard runs, SpaghettiOs, right? Sirianni was fussing at fans today. He's losing his shit. I love it. I don't care. I love it. Right? I love it. They know he ain't shit. They know that he ain't shit. That's why he's starting to buck off. Want to bring your kids to the press conference today and shit. Ain't no sympathy for your ass. I love it. If he gets fired this year, cool. I don't give a shit. I hear what you saying. I ain't about, protect Nick Sirianni at all costs. Nah, F that. I don't give, look, this is the thing. When you trash, you need that. It was protect Dave Gettleman at all costs. It's protect. Now, I will say protect the Jones family at all costs. They're imperative to the demise of the Dallas Cowboys. Because that head, you can't cut that head off. They just grow another one. Protect the Jones family at all costs. But in terms of coaches and players, I don't give a shit because we got one of them ones. I don't care no more. You can do whatever. You can do whatever you like. Yeah. Because when it's all said and done, your quarterback could never. He could never. We're going to fix this defense. It's going to get better over time. We're going to get the pieces. We're doing shit that we have no business doing because we got one of them ones. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? We went toe-to-toe, blow for blow with the Ravens with a 54% complete roster. Our shit is loading and the bar is stuck at 54%. And we went toe-to-toe with them boys. That's a fully developed NFL Super Bowl caliber roster. And they needed Herculean efforts from their two best players to beat us. The game has changed. Whether you like it or you don't like it. My dad, boss man, talked to me today. He said, man, I'm not sure your quarterback ain't the most accurate quarterback in the league right now. He said your quarterback is by far and away the best quarterback in the division. He might be the best quarterback in the conference. And look, one thing my dad ain't gonna do, he ain't gonna bullshit me. He ain't gonna sugarcoat me. He told me Dallas was gonna lose today. He told me they was gonna get their ass kicked today. Let me tell you what he said to me. Last week he picked Dallas to beat Pittsburgh. He said, "We not winning the next 4 games. This is the only one we can get. So I'm taking us to beat Pittsburgh, but we not winning none of the next 3 games." He told me that last week when he picked Pittsburgh. One thing you got to know about my dad, he ain't gonna bullshit you. He ain't gonna sugarcoat it. If Dallas is garbage, he gonna tell you. If your team good, he gonna tell you. This ain't about not liking one team, and that's why we can have those conversations. That's where I get my shit from. I was talking to LB. LB is delusional, and I don't like calling people delusional because people love calling me delusional. I don't like calling people delusional. That's dismissive, right? That's the easy thing that you say to somebody if you want to dismiss them. Call them delusional. I don't like doing that. But he's in denial. That's a better word. He ain't delusional. He's in denial. And on one hand, I love watching it, but it pains me to see a man struggling in denial. I'm going to air his ass out when we get on the next Super Friends. I'm going to let him have it. I'm going to save it for that. Harambe 2024. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, "Today, I give up on being a fan. I won't be returning until Harris sells the team. Who's with me? Bring back Dan." I saw you trolling today. Big time. I wasn't expecting that from you. I didn't get those vibes from you last week after the destruction of the Browns. So I didn't take you as a troller. But you were trolling hard today. I didn't see that coming. I was actually surprised at you. Did somebody hack your account? Or is this really what you about? I didn't see this coming. I thought we had some real meaningful conversations last week. Apparently, that was all a facade. You put up a front last week. Shauna Gang, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, "Hey Lou, how are you doing? Hashtag HTTC. I'm doing well. I'm doing really good. Today was a fun day of football, watching a lot of these games. Our game was good. I enjoyed our game. It didn't have the outcome that I wanted, but I enjoyed our game. I enjoyed Dallas's game. To a lesser degree, I enjoyed the Giants game, and I thoroughly enjoyed the Eagles game, even though they won. It was fun watching them struggle for 4 quarters with one of the worst teams in football. That was hilarious. So I enjoyed that thoroughly. But I enjoyed watching the youngins. I saw Drake May play today or yesterday. I saw Spencer Rattler get his first career NFL start as well. I enjoyed it. I'm doing well. What about you, Shauna? Shauna Gang, how are you doing? I'm doing well. Shauna Gang, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Shauna Gang, double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, "You see them sorry cowgirls, they tried to come for us." Yeah, I saw it today. Boy, that was rough. And this was the funny part about the Detroit Lions. They was out for blood because of what happened last year, right? So they out here trying Panay Sewell, hooking laterals and shit. Like, they was really trying to stick it to these boys. They was up almost 40 and they was still trying trick plays and trying to put Dallas's dick in the dirt as far as they could get it. Oh man, they were having a blast at their expense. Dallas is a mess. And it's funny because I heard people, "Well, we got our best defensive players." The Saints hung 40 on you with DeMarcus Lawrence and Michael Parsons in the lineup. Man, stop. Miss me with that shit. Y'all are just trash, bro. Just call it like it is. Call a spade a spade. But I'm not going to I ain't gonna hold you on that. Shauna Gang, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Shauna Gang writes, "Lou, I told you LB, he a hater." Well, of course he's a hater. We all hate each other's teams. But when he goes out of his way to make comments like this, I know he's coping hard, right? He's struggling with this. He's in denial. He made a comment. Somebody showed it because I don't be following him on social media for real like that. But I want to say it was Miss P. Somebody's no, it wasn't Miss P. It was somebody else that sent me him. Like he's like, get your man LB. He tweeted out. I guess this was during the Bears game when Caleb was going off. Good for Caleb. I told you I don't have a hating bone in my body towards these young quarterbacks. I want to see them all succeed. There's room for all of them to be good. One doesn't have to be good at the expense of another, right? Somehow the Bears fans got the equation all jacked up and they think in order for Caleb to be good, Jaden has to stink. I don't really understand that math, but maybe that's some Bears math. And let them have it in Chicago, you know. But while he was out there tossing his 4 touchdown passes, I guess LB felt the need to take a shot at us unprovoked, right? We minding our own business, going about our day. And he's like, this Jaden Daniels thing is cute, but Caleb is the best quarterback out of that draft class. Okay, that's cool. Well, guess what? Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams are both better than Jalen Hurts. How about that? Does that make you feel good? And if that makes you feel better and it makes you sleep better at night, go right ahead. I'm not going to argue with you. No. You mad. You big. Life was so much easier when you just had to worry about Dallas. Because now Dallas sucks. So it's really supposed to be your division now. And it's hard to cope because this shit ain't yours. Dallas sucks, and it's somebody else here standing in the way. And you can't move them out the way. And that shit is hard to stomach. I get it. I get it. Lang Hughes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Lang Hughes writes, I think JD putting up numbers versus Carolina. I can see it. But again, I'm just about wins, man. Find a way to win, right? Get it done. I would love it to be in an impressive fashion, but just make sure there's no letdown at home against the team that you're supposed to beat. That was the challenge, you know, last week against the Browns, and we took care of it. Do it again, right? Do it again. JLG, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, JLG, who writes, question. If the division was on the line today, who would you rather see, the Giants or the Eagles? I don't know. I can't answer that because we haven't played the Eagles yet. We haven't played the Eagles yet. I would probably tell you I'd rather play the Giants just because I know they can't score. I know they can't score. So even when we're not at our best offensively, we should still be able to scrape across 24 to 27 points and beat the Giants because they can't score. We kicked 7 field goals and beat this team. 7. I know the Eagles can score. How much is the question? And then on the flip side of that, hey, how much we putting up on their head? And so defensively, the Giants are better. They're superior. So they should theoretically be able to slow us down a little bit more than the Eagles can. But in order to win in this league, you got to be able to score points. And the Giants can't score. The Giants can't score. It's hard to win in this league where you're relying on your defense to hold the other team under 20 because you can't score 20, more than 20 points in a game for the most part. Offensively, the Giants' best output this season is 24 points. That's their best output. They scored 29 against Seattle, but 6 of that came on a blocked field goal, return for a touchdown. So they don't have it in them. So I probably take my chances with the Giants because I know the Eagles can score some points. And we know our defense ain't great. So they're going to be able to score against our defense. Don't fool yourself, right? But this is the thing. Here's my logic. And I could be wrong, and this logic could be faulty. Here's my logic. When we had Sam Howell, when we had Taylor Heineke, they struggled with us. Struggled. Barely got by. We have one of them ones now. What am I supposed to think? I'm asking for a friend. Harambe 2024. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Dang, my bad, bro. Sorry. Hey, don't apologize, man. It is what it is, right? This team got me emotionally invested again. Sometimes it's easier not to care, bro. Got me talking. You was talking real crazy, though. Like, I was wondering if you needed psychiatric help crazy. Like, I'm wondering if somebody had hijacked your handle and your page, right? Because I'm like, we know trolls when we see them. Trevor Patch, there's no better troll in the mob than Trevor Patch. So when Trevor says something, I don't even pay attention no more. Like, if Trevor wants to surprise me, he's got to say something that's serious. Because I just immediately see Trevor's name pop up and I know it's some bullshit. I wasn't expecting that from you. It was like I was talking to a totally different person. It's like, oh yeah, somebody hacked his page. Ain't no way. This the same dude I was talking to last week. Like, what's going on here? Like, that was a bit extreme, bro. If you were being serious, I thought you were trolling. If you were being serious, bro, that's rough. Like, we gotta have a talk. Like that, you can't be swinging on the pendulum that far, bro. Like, it was you were talking out of pocket today. It was crazy. Harambe, what was that about? Sean again. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy. Or excuse me, my girl. Sean again, writes. LB is the same person who said the defense was top 10. So I'm not gonna elaborate because I'm gonna hold his feet to the fire. Because he say a lot of shit. And I'm not here for it. I'm gonna hold his feet to the fire. Harambe 2024. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Harambe writes, they were saying AP was not happy after the loss. I don't know why, but seeing a GM who cares this much hypes me up, man. Makes me feel like we in good hands. Who is ever excited or happy after a loss? I ain't never met a competitor that was cool with losing. I ain't met that dude yet. I wasn't happy after the loss. I wasn't like stark raving mad. I told you I was more disappointed than anything else because that game was there for the taking. But, you know, I expect him to be upset. They think they can win every game. So do I. So do I. Marquell Randall, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Marquell writes, I don't know how LB can be serious with Sirianni, but LB's not a Sirianni fan. He's not a Sirianni. He never was. He wanted him fired after the end of last season. So that's one thing I can say LB has been consistent with. Is he's not a Nick Sirianni guy. He wanted, and I was the one defending Nick Sirianni, like, yo, this man that took you to the playoffs every year. You want to fire him? He's like, yes, I do. And he was right. I got to give him credit on that. He was right. Nick Sirianni is not the right man for the job. LB was right when he said he needed to be fired. Harambe, 2024. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Harambe writes, hey, yo, I'm weak, bro, man. Hell, I wasn't serious. I don't know because you giving me conflicting stories. I didn't think you were serious. But then you literally just said this team be having me emotional. I'm like, wait, were you serious? Because I didn't think you were serious. I thought you was trolling. Like, trolls are going to troll. One of my best friends is the biggest troll I know. So I know trolling when I see it. It don't bother me none. People get worked up all in a frenzy over people that troll. I don't. But then you just literally said 7 minutes ago, man, this team be having me emotionally unstable, essentially, is what you just said. What the hell am I supposed to think when you say something like that? You're making me think that you were serious. I don't know what to think anymore. My hands are up. You got me, bro. I don't know. Because I thought you was playing the whole time. Thought you was trolling. Harambe 2024. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Harambe writes, moving forward, you think we buyers or sellers? We may be neither. I think we're more likely buyers than sellers at the deadline. If I had to choose one, I think we're buyers right now more than sellers. But obviously these injuries and how we play over the next couple of weeks. I told you, I really don't want to have the trade deadline because deals don't really get done until you get close up on the deadline. Like everybody kept saying, oh, a deal with Davante Adams is imminent. It can happen as early as this week. No, it ain't. It's going to happen closer to that damn deadline. He might get traded this week, but the likelihood is he don't get traded until the following week as we get closer to the deadline. Because until I got to do something, I don't got to do nothing. And it's a lot of red tape with the Davante Adams situation between his money and the Raiders wanting somebody to eat some of that and the other team like, I ain't eating shit. I'm already giving you a pick for his ass. And so it's a lot of complications there. But my guess is if we continue down the path that we're going, which is winning and playing good football, we'll probably be closer to being buyers than sellers is my guess. That's my guess. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of Sunday Night Football Overtime. Giants 7 points, 7 whole entire points. In 2 primetime games this season, the Giants have combined for 22 total points. Delicious. Delicioso. And we still got to stomach these bastards on Thanksgiving against Dallas. Like, we're not even done with them yet. If I'm not mistaken, I think we got them 2 more times on primetime television. I'm trying to think. I think they had 4 primetimers, and they've only had 2 to this point. I think we still got them 2 more times. We can't get rid of them on Thanksgiving, but if the other one is another Sunday nighter, which I don't think it is, I think they got a Monday night game because they haven't played on Monday night yet. So my guess is they're playing somebody on Monday night, and you can't get rid of them there either. So brace yourselves. There's more of this to come. Bengals get it done 17-7. It wasn't not pretty by any stretch of the imagination, but it was gritty, and most importantly, it was a dub. Much needed one as the Bengals get to 2-4, and they got a stretch here. They got a stretch here that they have to take advantage of if they're trying to make anything of their season. This is it. This is the last stand. You got to get hot, and you got to get hot now. I'm not talking 3 out of 4. I ain't talking 4 out of 5. You got to win 4 games straight. Here's your opportunity. Giants this week, check. Browns next week, check. Eagles the week after that at home, check. Raiders the week after that. Excuse me. Well, I said check, but Giants tonight, check. Browns next week. Eagles the week after that at home. Raiders after that. You got to find a way to get it done. One at a time. Browns up next. I don't think Joe Burrow's won on the road in Cleveland in his career. I could be wrong about that. But I don't think he's won in Cleveland yet. And for whatever reason, the Bengals just struggle in Cleveland. If there's any year that you should be able to beat Cleveland in Cleveland, it's this year. Get her done. Anyway, I digress. Harambe 2024. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Harambe writes, I can see both. AP ain't playing, bro. Your ass is gone if you ain't cutting it, as we've seen. Also, none of the first-round picks from Ron Rivera starting. Shaking my head. Look, man, we already knew Jamin was a long shot when they moved into defensive end. And, you know, Emmanuel Forbes struggles in camp and in the preseason, coupled with the injury, it just didn't bode well, you know. he opened the door for somebody else to take his spot, and they already weren't blown away by him. So there's that. But let me give a quick shout out to BetUS for powering this stream. Go to betus.com. Use the promo code YouTube150 to get you 150% off for new users on a sign-up bonus for up to $2,000 on your first deposit and 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits on up to $2,000. Once again, betus.com, promo code YouTube150. Harambe 2024. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Harambe writes, if we keep playing good football, what's that do for the branding in your opinion? Just curious. I don't know if it does anything. Look, the more they win, the less likely, I guess winning makes it easier for them to keep the brand the way it is. I'll say that. When you're winning, it's less focus on change the name, the brand sucks, yada, yada, yada. You're going to have people, even while you're winning and having success, say, this would be a lot better and I would enjoy this a lot more if we were the Redskins. You're going to still have that crowd. That crowd isn't going away. They're never going to go away. They're always going to be around, and they're always going to be saying that. But it's a lot easier to focus on the name and how much you hate Commanders and how bad the uniforms are, yada, 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 if you're losing, right? You winning? Ain't nobody talking about that shit. Don't nobody give a damn. I say nobody. I use that loosely because they're going to be people that always care. But the more you win, the more it's easier for them to leave the name the way it is. So I really think they are hoping that it just sticks. You leave it there long enough, people get used to it, and you're just like, yeah, just don't worry about it. Just leave it. Because it cost a lot of money to change. As we saw the last time. That's why Daniel Snyder took the cheap, easy way out. Because it costs a lot of money to rebrand. A lot of money to rebrand. Now, I think if you're going to rebrand, the easiest way to do it is when you get in a new stadium. Because if you're going to build a new stadium and new facilities and things of that nature, you can already have your new name and decorate it as such. One of the biggest things that was very costly for Daniel Snyder when he was rebranding was tearing out all of the, Redskin stuff around the stadium and having to put up new stuff and in the building. And it was a lot. That was where a lot of the money was spent too. So it's easier to do that when you build in a new stadium. If you got a new name, you put that up and you don't have to worry about changing it. Because if you're going to build a new stadium and it's Commanders and then you're thinking about changing the name, well, now you got to get rid of all that stuff in the stadium. This is millions of dollars, even though you're making money hand over fist. One thing I've learned about billionaires and millionaires is that they don't like wasting money. They don't like wasting money. They don't take too kindly to that. Broke people like wasting money. People with money don't like wasting money, if that makes any sense. So I guess my long-winded answer to sum it up is that it makes it more likely, success makes it more likely that the name stays the same. Harambe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Harambe 2024 writes, to me, fix the unis at least. How so? How do you fix the uniforms? The only ones that I'm not a big, the white ones, they're meh, right? They don't really adhere to the color scheme. They just kind of feel out of place. The home burgundy with the gold pad, those are fine. The black alternates, I got no issues with them. Got no issues with them. But the white road uniforms kind of feel out of place. It's like a maroon brick red. It's not really burgundy. There's black in that uniform. It's gray in there. It's just kind of weird, right? Kind of out of left field. But how do you fix it? I mean, I know you guys have ideas and kind of go back to the classic look, and I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't think they're going to do it. Harambe 2024. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, something close to the Washington football team unis. They were nice. Yeah, because they were close to the old uniforms. All they really did with their uniform was they took off Redskins off the front, put Washington on the front, and that was pretty much it. And then they had a different helmet. I mean, it was really the same uniform. And I really thought they could have just left it that way. But when you're rebranding, you want to change it up. So that's what they did. So anyway, well, we'll see what happens in the future. But for them right now, the uniforms, the name, all that stuff is ancillary. That's back seat stuff for them right now. That's back burner stuff. They're worried about winning, and because winning brings in more asses and seats, more season ticket holders. It generates more revenue. Winning changes the game, and then you can start talking about doing stuff. So winning could bring about change, or winning could allow them to stay status quo. Could go both ways. Could go both ways. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Sunday Night Football Overtime. Bengals get the win 17-7. Both teams leave the game at 2-4. Bengals have the Browns next week on the road. Eagles will be coming to New York next week. That's actually a big game. That's actually a big game in the NFC East because that's the Eagles' first game in the division, and that's the Giants' third game in the division. They would have played every team in the division once, and still haven't beaten anybody. Probably won't beat the Eagles either, but I like their chances. They're competing. Anyway, I digress. Y'all get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I will see you guys tomorrow. God bless and good night.